pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can we have the roll call, please?
Mr. Huffman?
Here.
Mr. Schaefer?
Here.
Ms. Dixon?
Here.
Mr. Good?
Here.
Mr. Sowers?
Here.
Mr. Seward?
Here.
And Ms. Stout?
Okay, is there anything that we need to add or delete from the agenda? If not, we will proceed with the agenda that's been sent out to us. And we have the statement that's necessary during these times. This is the statement from the Continuity in the Government of Luray, Virginia. This meeting of the Luray Planning Commission is being held pursuant to the April 13th, 2020 ordinance for continuity in the government of Luray. The town manager shall read the names of the commission members present and identify those who are electronically present. The town manager is responsible for receiving public comment in advance of the meeting, which may be submitted by mail, email, phone, or hand delivery by 5 p.m. on the day of the meeting. In-person attendance and comment by the public is also permitted, subject to the limitations of the most recent executive order and phasing guidelines issued by Governor Northam. This meeting can be viewed live on the town's Facebook page, and a recording will be available on the town's YouTube channel. Minutes from the meeting will be posted on the town's website after being approved by the Planning Commission. Okay, I don't see any citizens that are here to comment on anything at this time. We have the minutes from November the 18th. These have been distributed. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay. I think we have a motion and second.
Motion, I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Okay. Okay, we do have a public hearing which has been advertised to come before us at this time. It's a property at 10 North Court Street, which is zoned business B1, and it's for a special use permit to operate this existing structure as a 3-unit apartment. We talked about this in our November meeting, and we have the application and impact analysis statement, the deed to the property, tax map or tax info, and the tax map, the parcel, and a copy of the notice of public hearing. Do you want to talk about the message that we received?
Actually, if you'd like to open the public hearing, I can read that in while
Okay.
the public hearing is going.
I will officially open the public hearing for this special use permit application.
There are no members to speak during the public hearing, but we did receive a comment message from one of the adjacent owners, Mr. and Mrs. Fink, from 106 North Court Street. We read with interest your letter of December 16th regarding the special use permit request by Mr. Johnson to allow a 3-unit apartment at 10 North Court Street. We are a 30-year resident of the dwelling located north adjacent of the property. This letter was a surprise since we believe there have always been 3 units in the dwelling. In recent years, there have been no more than 2 vehicles parked on the street associated with the home. We are located on a narrow one-way street, and we park 2 vehicles on the street. Our concern is with the parking situation that might arise. Problems have occurred when 10 North Street residents have had more than 2 vehicles to be parked on the street.
Okay, thank you. There's no one else here to speak, and that's the only comment that we received.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, then I'll officially close the public hearing. So we're open for further discussion.
So is that, they're talking about that's the street that's in the alley right in front of it? Is that the one that they're concerned with, or right there on the court?
On Court Street, it is a one-way heading north, so, and it is fairly narrow.
There are 2 parking spaces though on the alley.
Yes, sir, the site, the property does have 2 on-site parking spaces.
Yes.
So they're concerned if they put whoever, say like they get all three occupied, they worrying about if more cars can be parked on that street,
Yes, sir.
which is gonna take away from them. Is that what that's what it sounds like?
They said
They're-
problems have occurred.
They're a
I
little
don't
bit
know if
further down the
Right.
street.
Well, I'm a little confused because it appears that they thought there was always a 3-unit apartment there, so I'm sure there were times when there was 3, each unit had a vehicle, I would think, at some point in the past, so I don't see that it's increasing any issue over what the situation was
Right.
before this.
Yeah, it is my understanding that the property has operated as a 3-unit apartment
Okay.
for at least 20 to 30 years.
Yeah.
Over 30, because my brother used to live there.
Unfortunately, we have no history that would take it back to pre-76 when the town code was adopted. And we have no history of an SUP for the property to operate as a 3-unit apartment. And that's what is presented to you all tonight. I would agree that historically, it has operated as a 3-unit apartment. Whether all 3 units were rented at the same time, we have no history of that to present to y'all. Definitely, if all 3 units were to be rented and they had even 1 vehicle per unit, they would exceed the on-site parking. That said, public parking is intended for any and all in the public, both residents and visitors, but it is potentially a concern for this application.
I grew up on that street, and, I mean, there's parking all the way from Main Street, you know, a distance down to that house, right? And-
Yes, sir. There is on-street parking available.
And then even until you get to 6, there's a vacant lot there, I believe, or a large yard. I mean, it just seems to me that it would be rare for all those spots to be taken. The people on the left side, the parking for that is a driveway on that other little road that cuts up by State Farm. I just don't see how it could very often be a problem. It's all public parking along there, right?
It is public parking. That said, there are 5 bedrooms at the property, so again, 1 vehicle per bedroom. There could be 5, potentially 10 vehicles that would be associated with the property. So it is a concern, but it's a historic concern.
Yeah.
10 vehicles would probably be an awful lot.
Yes, sir.
For that number of bedrooms.
Yes, sir.
More likely probably wouldn't have that.
No. And I know the times that we went there to pick up the lady who lived in the ground apartment, or the street apartment. We never had any problems just pulling in and parking and then getting her out to take her to boat. It was always parking there. And at one time, she did have a vehicle, which she had parked there on the street. And then she sold that vehicle, but again, we never had a problem pulling up there and having her come out to take her to vote.
Doesn't sound like historically there's ever really been that issue, and if it's been 3 units there anyway.
Okay, other questions or discussion about this? If not, then we're probably ready for a motion.
I would move that the planning commission recommend to council to approve the special use permit to operate a 3-unit apartment at 10 North Court Street as presented.
Second. Okay, can we have the roll call, please?
Mr. Seward,
Yes.
Mr. Sowers,
Yes.
Mr. Good,
Yes.
Ms. Dixon,
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer,
Yes.
Mr. Huffman,
Yes.
and Ms. Noack.
Let me just say on this one, it has nothing to do really with this application that we looked at. But there are other places where safety could be a concern with the second floor apartment. I'm aware of one where the older house was divided into 3 apartments, 2 downstairs and then the top floor. And the 2 downstairs apartments, of course, have their entrances from the back. But the one upstairs used the original staircase, front door, and the original staircase to the apartment that took up the top floor. And there's no way out of that top floor apartment except down that staircase. So I would think if we have something like that to come up in the future, we or the building inspector or somebody's gonna have to look at the safety of having an exit from that second floor apartment with a set of outside steps or whatever it might take in order to be safe. Just something that kind of goes along with using a dwelling for more than one, like 3 apartments. Okay, the next item is one for discussion that we will probably have the public hearing on in January. This is on South Hawksbill Street, 111 South Hawksbill Street. The property is zoned residential R3, adjacent to other R3 zoned properties. And the application will be for short-term lodging house, to operate a lodging house at this property. And we have some information about what a lodging house consists of. Open for transient guests no longer than 30 consecutive days. And we do have some recommendations to be considered of no more than 6 guests at any one time. And number 2 there, should that be off-street parking?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
And there is room there along South Hawksbill Street for off-street parking. One identification sign, not exceeding 4 square feet. And if there's any meals provided, served only to the guest. And of course, they have to get a town business license and remit the occupancy tax and the meals tax.
Mr. Chairman, I just had a comment. I wasn't aware of this, but all the available off-street parking is actually on the second parcel. So theoretically, in the future, somebody could sell that second parcel off and keep the main house parcel, but all the parking, all the off-street parking would go with the secondary lot. So maybe not only should all the off-street parking, but something that links those 2 parcels together, maybe. Policy and operated as a lodging house or something. I wasn't aware that there was a division in there, but apparently according to the survey there is, so.
Yeah, I got kind of confused when I looked at this, because I looked at the tax map number that we have in our information, 7-2, and then I thought, well, now, the house they're talking about, though, is on 7-3. But it is all owned by the same person right now.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
In actuality, 1, 2, and 3, if you see the lot above it, Ramona, now that I'm thinking about it, that was done at a time when, you know, you could do up to 3 lots in town, subdivide without coming through the planning commission and the council. And I've forgotten about that one, but yeah, so then they sold, lot 1 was sold, and then 2 and 3 were kept by this house.
Okay. So what's your recommendation again on the parking?
I was just gonna make it a fact that you guys know that apparently all the off-street parking is on this other vacant lot, with the exception of that little bit of deck that encroaches over it. So theoretically, at some point in time, somebody could feasibly sell that lot. I think it's enough square footage. We might have to check that, Steve. It's only 5,600 square feet there. It may not be a developable lot under R3. We would have to check that. I think it might be 5,000 square feet in R3. So if it is, I guess it is feasible that somebody could sell off that parcel that had all the off-street parking on it. And then where did the people park that would still be, you know, visiting the lodging house, I guess, at that point.
Okay, so that's something that we'll need to address when we actually have the hearing and everything to consider next month.
And we, in the meantime, we can certainly research that and make sure that that would be, parcel 2 would be a developable lot, you know, on its own. If it is, if it meets the square footage requirements, you know, then it could be an issue in the future. Not that anybody would do that, you know, on purpose, but it could be a feasible thing in the future, but we can research that between now and then.
Okay.
Would they be able to use the parking there at Ruffner Plaza?
That's what I was just wondering, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it is right there, yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's possible. The parking thing, they would have to apply for a waiver through the town manager to the town council that says, I've tried to put as much off-street parking in my property as possible, and I'm not able to do that. But by selling off all of your available off-street parking, that probably doesn't create a situation where the council will be like, well, you sold all your off-street parking, now you want to use the public parking in lieu of that. But it is possible, yes, yes, there is.
The only concern would be if we ever had an event at Ruffner that restricted use of the parking lot, there'd be no local parking for that site.
And then they complain that they
Well,
have no parking on public parking.
They'll be riding around the block. Yeah.
Well, and if South Foxville Street was a little wider, you know, where on-street parking during an event like that was possible, but you guys know how narrow that thing is, so it really necks down right in front of this house, so. I'm not sure there's a whole lot of shoulder parking there available. In fact, they have retaining walls across most of it because of the steepness.
All right.
But if y'all have any other concerns, we will be scheduling this for a public hearing at your January meeting.
Okay. Just to comment that this property was my great-grandparents' house, and my grandparents lived right next door. I spent a lot of time on South Hawksville Street. Okay, any other concerns or questions or anything else, any comments that we need to bring up at this time? Mr. Town Manager, how about?
No, sir, other than just wishing you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
And to you.
Yes. And the only comments that I have is, I think our January meeting is January the 13th.
Yes, sir.
And also, I believe 4 of our members are up for appointment with the town council in January. So I certainly hope that Bill and Grace and Frankie and Brian will be reappointed. We've got a good group.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Anything else from anybody at this time? Okay, well, we've completed our agenda, so we are adjourned. Everybody stay safe.